Hey guys, Matt and Scott here from the Old 77. Just wanted to take a moment and say, have you heard about Anchor yet?
It's a great way to do a podcast.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like, Anchor's got all of this stuff for you. Get analytics. We're online, everywhere. Apple, Google, and they did all of that for us. We didn't have to submit anything.
Nope. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer.
Right, so no computer, no problem.
Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Hi there. This is the Old 77. It's a safe place in an unsafe world. Warning, foul language may occur due to the subject matter.
Welcome to the Old 77. We are a safe place.
In an unsafe world.
And today we are talking about Jeffrey Epstein.
Did you watch the documentary?
I've seen a good chunk of it. I've seen maybe three quarters of it.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't made it all the way through yet, but yes, I've been watching it. And oh my God.
It's pretty powerful.
Right?
And it really makes you think the vicious cycle and of human trafficking.
That too. And we will get to human trafficking, but Jeffrey Epstein, man, that dude, who is he and where did he even come from? That's what I want to know.
In 1976, Ace Greenberg was running Bear Stearns. One day, I was sitting in my office, and Ace Greenberg called me to say that a trustee of the Dalton School had a young professor, Jeff Epstein, who wanted to come to Wall Street, and Ace asked if I would interview him. Epstein was well known as a good teacher and somewhat of a ladies' man, which didn't resonate at the time.
And like they did the whole thing too in the documentary where he just basically showed up on the scene as this young, like, yuppie investor.
Very charismatic.
Yeah, like had a way with people. Yeah. Hey, guys.
He quit college.
Right.
He didn't have a degree in
I knew that.
finance or anything.
Yeah, but
it was
he's
just
some finance guy.
He met the right people to get to where he was at.
In the 80s, after he was thrown out of Bear Stearns, I was the CEO of Towers Financial Corporation.
Steve Hoffenberg and Jeffrey were both self-made guys. But when Jeffrey met him, Hoffenberg was the mogul. He was the one flying around in private planes. He was the one with the wealth.
The CEO of a very large company who had employed Jeffrey Epstein in Europe called me and said, "This is a brilliant man that we'd like you to interview for North America because he has credentials on Wall Street and he's loaded with energy, but his moral compass is upside down."
He was part of that circuit,
and we were
human
talking
trafficking
about that
circuit.
right before we started the show too. That whole human trafficking circuit, that international thing, that's a real thing.
But did you hear his associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, was arrested by the FBI yesterday?
And that's what brought this up. We were going to do this show yesterday because we got together yesterday and did a show, and did you hear she got caught? And I was telling you, I legitimately thought this chick was dead. She just dropped off the planet, man. I thought they got her when they got Epstein.
There has to be like really powerful people involved with all of this because Epstein, obviously, he was murdered. We all know he was murdered. There's no way he committed suicide.
He might have. I mean, I'm not going to say he didn't commit suicide. He might have. And if he did, he threw the whole world into,
The guards that were guarding him just took a nap, right?
Yeah, I mean, but it's kind of fishy,
But this woman was just walking around, living her life like nothing ever happened.
I found her in the Hamptons. There's a documentary out on Netflix, and she's just living it up in the Hamptons, man.
Yeah, man. She contributed to having these underage minor girls.
Well, she was the one that was bringing them, right?
Yeah, she recruited them. Yeah. She groomed them.
And so he suggested that I come out to meet him and Ghislaine Maxwell at their ranch in New Mexico. But when I got there, I realized I was the only one there staying with them. They showed me around the property. It was part of building up this sense of like, look at who I am, look at all that I have, be impressed by me. Ghislaine was very interested in whether I had ever had a massage before, like a professional massage, and I had not. So it was really presented as like, you're so lucky that you get to do this, to, get this massage. She told me to undress, and there was a table there with a sheet on it. There was a time when she had me lay on my back, and she, pulled the sheet down so that my breasts were exposed. Because of the layout of the house and the doors that were open, I knew that Epstein could see me. I think the way that, she rubbed my chest in the massage also was inappropriate.
And so they weren't a couple, right?
I'm sure they were friends with benefits.
Right.
But they were also like work associates.
That sounds exactly like what it was.
Because he was so wealthy, so she was kind of just in one of these social leeches.
I don't know what she was. Was she did she start out as like an assistant and then work her way up through? Because I don't think it ever touched on exactly what she did for him, other than recruit all these ladies and bring them in, these very underage women, and bring them in for.
I don't know a whole lot about her, but I know she was a big part of.
And like I said, I legitimately thought that she was already gone. You know what I mean? Not living it out in the Hamptons. So they found her in New Hampshire at 8:30 in the morning. Was she walking the beach?
Just walking the dog.
Yeah.
Had her coffee.
Checking out the young ladies. Hey, ladies.
But just think, though, like when she goes to trial, and if she doesn't wind up dead, if she actually can, if they can get something out of her and she spills the beans, there are tons of people involved.
But who would she bring down, though?
I mean, there's Prince Andrew.
I was going to say, you've got Prince Andrew.
And a friendship between Jeffrey Epstein and Prince Andrew.
I don't remember meeting her at all. I do not remember a photograph being taken. And I've said consistently and frequently that we never had any sort of sexual contact whatever.
She provided a photo of the two of you together.
Yes.
Your arm was around her waist.
Yes.
You've seen the photo.
I've seen the photograph.
How do you explain that?
I can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alan Dershowitz, Epstein's lawyer.
Yeah, that guy.
Let me state categorically, I never had sex with an underage person in my life. Even when I was an underage boy, I never had sex with an underage girl. I never had sex with anyone related to Jeffrey Epstein. I challenge Virginia Roberts to come on your show, look in the camera, and say the following words. I accuse Alan Dershowitz of having had sex with me on 6 or 7 occasions.
I was with Alan Dershowitz multiple times, at least 6 that I can remember. Well, I was trafficked to Alan Dershowitz from Epstein.
But that guy was a scumbag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I mean, these girls have nothing to gain by coming out and saying this happened. They're already being scrutinized as being like hoes in the media. Like there are news media articles that depict them as like
how much of that
prostitution. Like they're actually saying they're prostitutes, but they're not prostitutes. They're victims.
How much of that is Epstein himself, though, smearing them? And he had connections to the media. He had all of that at his disposal. So how much of that is him?
Without a doubt, this guy smeared all these women.
Oh, absolutely.
All these victims.
Right. I mean, proof that if you just have some money, you can get away with a lot in this country.
I would like to answer that question. I really would. However, today, my attorneys have told me I have to assert my 5th Amendment, 6th Amendment, and 14th Amendment rights under the U.S. Constitution.
I mean, the guy had a personal island.
Right. And that's where they were taking a good chunk of them, right?
Yeah.
He's not representative of the people of the Virgin Islands, I can tell you that. But being on an island by yourself, I guess he felt he could do whatever he wanted.
I saw a thing, it was a while ago, I think when it happened actually, on like MSNBC or something. And they had like the helicopter flying over, and they had this really disturbing graphic where they shot the island up on the screen, and then they had like the illustrator where they go over, like Madden does, and they had it marked off on like, well, this was where this happened, and this was where this happened, and that whole island just started lighting up. Like they were layering it.
Wow.
This is where an assault happened. This is where an alleged assault happened. This is where an alleged assault happened. And before long, like the whole island was just covered up.
And
like the dudes legitimately like abused the entire island.
Here's Epstein's downfall: is he had regular people working there. There was one guy who was like the main engineer of the island.
Oh, he got like tasked to keep it running.
Yes.
Yeah.
I started working on the island in 1999 and worked until either the end of 2005 or the start of 2006. I was there for maintenance on Jeffrey Epstein's telecommunications and data equipment. I was on the island probably 100 times. I was ultimately in every single building that existed on the island at that time. And I would say every other month I would see guests on the island, and the guests almost always included young girls. I saw Alan Dershowitz on the island. It was more of a business meeting another time. I saw Bill Clinton sitting with Jeffrey on the living room porch area, which was Jeffrey's favorite spot. It's probably around 2004. I saw Prince Andrew. He was at the pool. He was with, at that time, an unknown girl to me. She was young. She didn't have any top on. They were engaged in foreplay.
That's messed up.
He's an eyewitness.
Yeah. Well, and how many of them, I wonder, have been called, too?
I mean, there's the former New Mexico governor, Bill Richardson, former Maine Senator George Mitchell, MIT scientist Marvin Minsky.
Marvin Minsky.
He died in 2016, so he's getting off easy.
Marv.
I'm sure the list goes on. I'm sure there's tons of people who aren't on this list.
I just think of The Simpsons.
But it's sad.
Yeah, but you know, that's just what we know of it too, because this is a whole underculture that is happening right now that we don't even know about. Like you were saying earlier with the whole, human trafficking thing. I know that living here in the Midwest, we're in a corridor of human trafficking.
I-70.
Human trafficking. That blows my mind. Yeah, I can't wrap my head around that.
I feel like she's going to go to prison. A main witness. I mean, they're going to have to get her on the podium and spill her guts.
Yeah, you hope. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say right now that she didn't kill herself.
No.
As of this broadcast, as far as I know, she is still alive. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't think she killed herself.
I'm going to go with the over on that.
Yeah. I think the over is better than the under on that.
Vegas is putting out the odds.
Fat Tony's already got it at 10-1.
Yeah.
Hey, 10-1 over here, Fat Tony.
Excuse me. Non-corona.
Not yet. Well, that's the worst too. Like, and getting off the whole Epstein thing. You go out and about and you cough. Oh my God. You get looked at so bad. And it's like, hold on. African dust storm or something has come up and nothing likes me at this point. Because that dust storm was terrible.
Oh, it was bad.
I just dripped and ran and
last weekend was awful because of that.
Last week was terrible because of that.
Like Sloan her nose was running, and then like I caught it from her or something. I don't know what happened last week.
Like my kids, I look at my daughter and she's just got both barrels running down her mouth.
That's the worst when you look over your kid and they're just like disgusting.
And they've just had it like it's happening so long that they've just accepted it.
And you're just like, here, let me use my shirt.
Right. Take that.
I mean, even children.
Right.
And we're going to talk about this next. Children.
I was going to say, because we're talking about that. And then we live here around a corridor for human trafficking, and we both have daughters. That frightens me. Right?
Scares the shit out of me.
Scares the hell out of me. And we will get to the human trafficking and all of that coming up in just a little bit. But first, if you have a topic for the old 77, or if you just want to, jump on and say hi, give us a call at 573-246-0779.
Or email us at theold77podcast@gmail.com.
We're also on the Facebook,
Twitter,
Instagram,
YouTube,
pretty much Anchor, anywhere you get podcasts.
Please leave a review on the Apple app.
Yeah, if you would, please. That helps us. Also, if you like the show and you'd like to become a sponsor, please email us at theold77podcast@gmail.com to find out more. We'll take a break, and we'll be back right after this.
Call or text the Old 77 listener line at 573-246-0779. Help ensure future podcast by becoming a sponsor today. To find out how, email the Old 77 podcast@gmail.com.
Hey guys, Matt and Scott here from the Old 77. Just wanted to take a moment and say, have you heard about Anchor yet?
It's a great way to do a podcast.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like, Anchor's got all of this stuff for you. You get analytics. We're online everywhere. Apple, Google, and they did all of that for us. We didn't have to submit anything.
Nope. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer.
Right, so no computer, no problem.
Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Welcome back to the Old 77. It's a safe place.
In an unsafe world.
And Scott, we just got done talking about Jeffrey Epstein, his associate, Jaylene Maxwell, who was arrested yesterday.
Yeah.
And she was a huge player in the sex trafficking game.
Is she the big player, or was she just the big player for Epstein?
She has to know a lot.
You would think, right? I mean, she'd have to have a little black book somewhere or a BlackBerry that's just loaded with info.
Because sex trafficking isn't just like a nationwide problem. It's an international problem.
Oh, yeah, it's everywhere.
Like in Paris, Spain.
I know it's big in
the
Paris,
Caribbean.
In Paris especially. Like, they follow little American girls around.
And Epstein was a huge player, and I'm sure she knows a ton about it as well. And I can't wait to see where this trial goes. If she survives this thing without dying somehow.
Yeah, because I'm firmly convinced she ain't killing herself.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of names involved that are going to be exposed.
I mean, if she hasn't killed herself up till this point, being on her own, living it up in the Hamptons.
Right.
She's probably not going to do it any other place.
With human trafficking, it's a huge problem. I feel like news media outlets don't really give its right exposure.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's something you don't want to talk about in your own backyard.
But this is a subject that has to be talked about.
I mean, it's happened even locally here. We just did a quick internet search, and we have actual names of people local.
Yeah,
like we're not going to use them, but that turned up in an internet search. Right. So, I mean, man.
JC native.
Yeah, there's a JC native on here too.
She accepted a modeling job, which her friend had told her about.
This is the worst part. In Maui. So she got up and flew to Maui.
Yep. And her friend basically sold her out.
Yeah, when she got there, from the way the story reads, like she was forced into a van.
Oh, I guess you're right, yeah.
Brought to a villa where she was drugged, raped, and beaten for 3 days. And later she found out that her friend was the one who sold her into slavery.
It's terrible.
That's a good friend right there. Reading this now and thinking to myself,
it's troublesome.
I have the name in front of me, and it's a very local sounding name. I'm not going to lie. We could have ran into this person at Walmart. Mm-hmm. Maybe she's still here.
She may know your wife.
She may be best friends with my wife. Mm-hmm. I have no idea.
Sounds like she was inspired to be a model.
What young girl doesn't want to be a model? And especially with her friend just saying, "Hey man, come on down. We're going to Maui." Oh, it's Maui. Some people, I'm not one of them, but some people, when they hear like Maui and the beach, they just melt.
Tropical paradise.
Right. And when that happens, it seems like when you dangle that in front of you, like reason goes out the window a little bit. You're like, oh, this is dangerous, but it's going to be fun. We're in Maui.
When someone comes up to you and goes, "Would you like to go to Maui for a modeling job?"
Right.
The beach.
Hey, you're really attractive.
The sun.
They're going to come up. They're going to stroke your ego, and you're going to be like, yeah.
Right.
And then it all... give you a flashy business card, and it's going to sound legit. And then when you call, you get a plane ticket, and it sounds legit, right?
How would you like to have a job in the Paradise Islands?
Right. Yeah.
Like, yes, that's what I want to do.
Exactly.
And then your friend sells you out.
Yeah, that's the worst part.
And then you're part of this sex trafficking circuit. And you have to, battle your way out of this. You have to escape it.
The thing that I hate here is this story doesn't say how she got away.
No, which I wish.
I wish we had that information in front of us as well. Because if you're, drugged, raped, and beaten, if that's a solid 3 days, I mean, after a while, your will's going to start to go downhill, you know? You need to get up and out of there. But yeah, I mean, and there's another one from Columbia. There's another one from St. Charles.
Yep.
I mean...
Kansas City.
Yeah, Kansas City. Camden County. There's one from... California.
And going back to it, St. Louis and Kansas City are major traffic hubs in the United States. They are connected, obviously, by Interstate 70. There's thousands of people that are involved with this.
God,
children, men, women.
Yeah, see, that's something that no one ever talks about, right? It's not just necessarily like women and small women and small ladies and small girls. It's dudes, too.
It's all kinds of people.
Right? It's guys. Men are getting caught up in this thing.
It's a really tough subject to talk about.
I feel like that's the underreported part of it. Right. It's also affecting men. I'm sorry if I offend anyone with my terminology, like dudes and chicks. That's just how I talk.
I take offense when you say dude.
I'm not, I know, dude.
But
I mean, I can call anyone a bitch.
Right.
Because sometimes you're being a bitch. And sometimes bitches, please.
Right.
You know?
Need to lay off.
Right.
Well, the United States is, they're ranked like #1 in the world for.
Yeah, I read that.
This, which is horrible. It says something about our society.
How is that?
According to the recent released report by the State Department, the top 3 nations.
So this is where it starts.
It's where it starts.
In 2018.
The United States, Mexico, and the Philippines.
Good Lord. I expect the Philippines and Mexico, honestly.
Apparently, the United States is #1 consumer in sex worldwide. There's a driving demand.
Imagine that.
According to Jeff Rogers, co-founder of the United States Institute Against Human Trafficking.
Jeff Rogers.
These are American kids, American-born, 50 to 60% of them coming out of the foster care industry.
Right there.
So there's the vulnerability right there.
There's the broken home. That's what we're doing wrong right there. It's like we were talking earlier about, people looting and rioting and throwing paint on statues. It's like, well, now they're just doing it because they're uneducated.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. We defunded education, and now we have to put up with this. This is the result of the dumbing down of America. It's the same with this, God, I hate that.
Yeah, this is really hard to talk about.
Right. I hate that, especially because I have a little girl, and I worry about her. I would legit hate to be a young person right now in today's world. Because, I feel like when we grew up, okay, so it would have been, my heyday. Yours probably, too, would have been, 94 to 97. That's when you were your peak.
High school,
your youngest. You were having a great time. I never worried about anything like this.
Nothing, no.
I mean, you were in a city. I was in the country, so
this is
the city was scary.
This
but
is
I loved
something,
going.
Yeah, and this
but
is
I never worried about this.
Right, and this is something that you would see in a movie.
Yeah,
you would imagine a Hollywood scriptwriter would just come up with something like this.
Caught in St. Louis.
You didn't think it was so widespread.
No, I had no idea it was along Interstate 70, and I lived 30 minutes from Interstate 70.
And this kind of circuit isn't just ran by amateurs. There are some people who are funding this stuff.
Well, there has to be some kind of money involved. And we're not talking Joe Schmo,
right.
The Peaky Blinders up the way. We're talking big, big, big money.
There has to be some
Queen.
rich perverts involved.
Like the Queen, some kind of
not the Queen, but you're talking about
that,
some
royalty
that kind of
somewhere.
Stature, yeah.
Somewhere royalty, maybe someone who was related to maybe one of the czars, and somewhere in their line they kept money.
Oh, like Prince Andrew?
Yeah. I'm just saying, something like that. Old money, old world money. That's why I think Epstein didn't kill himself, because it was just boom,
Yeah.
He got caught. Oh, this guy could really spill the beans, and oh, this guy has no beans left to spill.
Right.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
That's high level money income right there. That's getting things done. They're taking care of business at that point.
Well, in 2018, there was 230 federal human trafficking prosecutions. That's a ton, man.
Yeah.
230. It's a drop from 282 in 2017. And federal convictions rose from 499 in 2017 to 526 in 2018.
And
it's very prevalent.
Right. And we overlook all the other victims, not just the people involved in it. We're also talking about, their kids, their families, the communities that it happened.
This is very troubling.
All of that.
More than 70% of the cases resulted in jail sentences of more than just 5 years. That's it. That's all you get for taking someone and putting him into the sex trafficking circuit.
You're not kidnapping them because you're using things forced labor. Hey, you owe me some money.
The manipulation.
You're going to work off that debt, So early 2017, this one got me. Police raided a home in Columbia off of Vandiver Drive. Now, a minor was missing from a Wisconsin home. Was found being forced into the sex trade. Now, this is in Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
It was later uncovered that this home had been a trafficking hub for decades, and no one had known about it. Decades. In Colombia. Despite being off-road, an often known area, for shopping and commuting. So people, it's not like it was at the end of a dead-end street. Well, I mean, it's Vandiver Drive, right? So you can go get a milkshake at McDonald's and whatever.
Sounds like a movie, Vandiver Drive.
In a world on Vandiver Drive.
And St. Charles native Tiffany Piper of St. Charles is spending only 8 years in prison for selling 2 high school girls for sex. Piper placed ads online inviting strangers to have intercourse with 2 girls for a price.
Oh my God. That's ballsy, right?
That's messed up.
Right. That's like, what is it? Probably a back page ad or something, or Craigslist.
They're the bottom feeders of society.
Well, and there's this guy in 2014, Josh K. Smith of Camden County, pled guilty to forcing women into prostitution. He says he was dating 2 women at a time of these crimes, that he threatened to kill their families if they didn't comply with his demands.
Jesus.
According to the Department of State, the top 3 states with the most human trafficking activity are you ready? California, New York, and Texas. I'm just glad Missouri's not on that. California Against Slavery reported that 3 of the 10 worst child sex trafficking areas in the U.S. are San Francisco, L.A., and San Diego.
Wow. It makes sense.
I mean, you're right there on the coast.
You're right there on the border.
Yeah, you're right there.
You know, it's a very attractive city.
Right. Well, coastal cities usually tend to, have really attractive people there. Because you're getting out, you're doing stuff, you're sunned.
Right.
So they're probably finding young, gullible people.
But I'm sure this, excuse me, I'm sure this is happening everywhere.
Right. It's
East Coast, Central States.
Well, even here, we just highlighted 2 stories right here in our own backyard.
And you're talking about rural Missouri.
Right. Yeah, we're right in the middle of the state, so it's not like
So just imagine what St. Louis and Kansas City are like.
Yeah, it's not like we're at either of those places.
But it's a scary subject.
It is, man. It is, especially with us, with daughters of our own. Because, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I remember how I was at that age.
Yeah.
A horny little kid ready to just go.
Right.
And I'd hate to imagine that now with my daughter. Like that's the guys that she's going to have to deal with.
And you're talking about, going back to, the Epstein documentary.
Right.
A friend of his sent him 3 12-year-olds for his 60th birthday.
It was Jeffrey's birthday one year. I don't remember what year it was, but I would say it's a good year into our relationship or knowing each other. And he was laughing about the fact that his friend sent him 3 12-year-old girls that he had purchased from their parents.
On one of defendant Epstein's birthdays, a friend of defendant Epstein sent him 3 12-year-old girls from France who spoke no English for defendant to sexually exploit and abuse. After doing so, they were sent back to France the next day.
12-year-olds. I mean, just to put that into perspective.
It's disgusting.
Right. That's like my son in 2 years.
Yes, all these women, all these victims came out against Epstein, but I'm sure there's tons more.
Well, these are just the ones that we know about.
That he raped or took advantage of.
I mean, it sounds like if this dude sent him a couple of 12-year-olds, then he had, connections. Because you just don't go down to the store and get a couple 12-year-olds. Is there a number he calls, Does he have a fixer?
He's got a guy.
Is there a whole John Wick underworld that we don't know about, where you just walk up somewhere and you give him a gold coin and it's like, let me get a 12-year-old.
It's horrible, man.
Right? I mean, honestly, that doesn't sound too far-fetched now.
No. It has to go back to, manipulation, and right. Taking the right people. There has to be some kind of vulnerability without kidnapping somebody.
No, absolutely. I agree.
To coax them into being part of this.
Yeah.
Disguising it, and then, when they show up, the reality of it all is, wow, this is not right.
I feel sorry for those women and whomever, even the guys or whomever, but just
children.
That realization, because at some point you're going to have to wake up and have a realization with yourself that I'm in a wrong spot right now. What happened? How do I get out of this? That's got to be a bad time.
Oh, it's got to be a dark place.
Yeah, it has to be. Assuming you're even allowed to have that, because this local gal was drugged the entire time.
Yeah.
So her mind wasn't even there.
No.
She was out of it.
It was just a shell of who she was.
Yeah, she wasn't even there.
And the thing is, where do you start? Where do you start coming down on stuff like this? How do you rid this? I mean, I don't think you can rid it. I think it's so hidden.
But it had to be hidden.
And there's a society out there.
Then that's it right there. When you see something,
there's a society that's so well connected.
You have to say something. Have you ever had like a feeling like if you've been out and about? I've had this once, maybe twice, and I really wish I had have actually acted on it. But we were out one place somewhere in Illinois, and it was maybe 5-6 years ago, and there was a great big dude and a young girl, like his daughter, I assume, and it looked like they had just gotten off, like he had just gotten off work, but he was like talking to her normal, and we were in like Walmart, right? And she had this weird look on her face the whole time, and I couldn't help but think something's wrong here. And I wish that I had said something, like maybe asked her, "Is everything okay? You know, is everything all right? You know, maybe said something." But I remember having that feeling that there's something not right here.
Did she look stressed out?
She just looked like she wasn't there.
Like she didn't belong.
Like she was looking through things. Like nothing was really affecting her because she was so out of it. Like I just remember the look on this little girl's face, like you could have walked up and probably punched her in the face, right? And I don't think it would have bothered her. Like she was so out of it. Like I can't put it into words. I can't describe it right. But that is the situation that we were talking about, that you were just bringing up. Like if you have something like that, then we need to speak up. That's how we end this. We need to not stay silent. We need to be vigilant and keep our eyes open.
But you'll always hear like a story on the news about,
Right.
this sex trafficking cell was brought down by the by the police
I
or
just
something.
saw one before, I don't know, it was a couple weeks ago, about a gal who walked into like a Pizza Hut or maybe made an order. And like in the comments part, you know, where you can be like, "Hey, leave it on my front porch." You know, she put, "I'm being abused," and you call the police.
Oh my God.
And they actually, like the Pizza Hut called the cops and they delivered the pizza and everything, but it was the cop that delivered the pizza. And they ended up arresting the dude and taking her out.
Was he like undercover?
I don't know. I don't remember. But it was something that actually happened on this.
Wow.
That they, you know, she used a means to get away from it. It was a little while ago. Well, and we work with someone who was abused pretty bad too.
Yeah.
You know, and she's a survivor. Yeah.
Women go through a lot, man.
Yeah.
You know.
And as a guy,
you
I
really,
don't understand.
I don't understand it.
But to just walk up and slap somebody, or to, I don't get the against, like the forced and against their will.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
Like
And I don't get underage girls either.
Growing up, I've never seen my dad hit my mom.
Yeah.
I never even seen my dad push my mom.
I seen my dad hit my mom.
Did you?
A couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as a result, I'm not. I know what you're trying to say. As a result, I'm not aggressive either.
Yeah.
I refuse to fight, and that becomes a problem in my relationship sometimes because I refuse to fight. I don't want to go down that path. I saw what my parents did, and I don't want to do that. Damn, you're legit getting choked up, aren't you?
A little bit.
It's all right, man. Hey, if you would like to call us here at the Old 77 and leave a comment or something on the listener line, you can call us at 573-246-0779. Online at theold77podcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Also on Anchor and anywhere you get your podcasts. We're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this. If you're being trafficked or suspect that someone you know is being trafficked, contact the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-THELOST. That's 1-800-THE-LOST or cybertipline.org.
Call or text the Old 77 listener line at 573-246-0779. Help ensure future podcast by becoming a sponsor today. To find out how, email the Old 77 podcast at gmail.com.
Hey guys, Matt and Scott here from the Old 77. Just wanted to take a moment and say, have you heard about Anchor yet?
It's a great way to do a podcast.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like, Anchor's got all of this stuff for you. You get analytics. We're online everywhere. Apple, Google, and they did all of that for us. We didn't have to submit anything.
Nope. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer.
Right, so no computer, no problem.
Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Welcome back to the old 77. It's a safe place.
In an unsafe world. And we have a special guest in studio, Andrea.
Hi.
Say hi,
of Andrea Marie Photography for all of your photography needs.
Hey, great plug.
Shameless plug.
Shameless, right?
So I just want to apologize for getting emotional towards the last segment.
we did get
kind of like choked up a bit.
But you know what? Then Andrea came in and she was right on the other side of the door. And she just starts beating on the door like it's like she's the police, right? Just boom, 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 boom. And then we had this whole amazing conversation, and everyone agreed, minus Andrea, because she's, Andrea. Everyone else agreed that we should mic her up. So
here I am.
Here she is.
Yeah, I was like, pull up a mic.
Right.
We need to get your perspective
So
on things.
Your perspective was that the reason we teared up was because...
Well, I think because you both are fathers of little girls. And what happens when the time comes that they're going to be objectified? And subconsciously, I think that that's what causes you to have that emotion. Is that better?
Much.
Okay.
Keep going. It's a saggy boom. I'm sorry.
Gravity happens. Trust me, I understand.
You are 42 now.
I know. I was going to say we're not as young as we used to be.
Yes, but in this room, you are the oldest, Maddie.
That's true.
You are
by 30 days.
By a month. Dang.
But no, I definitely think that the reason you guys got the feels is because you both have little girls, and whether or not you want to admit it, maybe that comes into fruition when Sloan is 13, because they don't mature the same way as they used to. And I was saying that our 7-year-old has got curves in all the right places that she shouldn't have curves.
She's way too curvy. Way too curvy.
I mean, she has hips and a butt, and
she uses it.
An hourglass.
How do you guys have like a school or something that you do classes like, ladies, shake them hips like this?
No. Some of them are born with it, and some of them learn it with time. Oh. I definitely don't think that she got that from me.
Yeah, she didn't get it from me.
I think that comes from her father, whether he wants to admit it or not.
Apparently, I'm dead sexy and I like to shake my thing.
Well,
Andrea would know that. Now, going back to this Epstein thing, Andrew, we were talking to you off mic about it.
Yeah.
And how it basically a pyramid scheme of sex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when you watch that documentary and you watch the detectives trying to figure out who everybody had to play into it, and they start to map, you see like there was like 5 main people. Mm-hmm. And then from there, their objective was to, well, if you can bring 5 people and then that person can bring 5 people, the mass quantity of young women that were abused,
it's staggering.
It's insane. It is sickening and repulsive. And just the fact that the people that played into it were pried upon because of maybe their social economic background. They didn't have anything, so they were already weak. They were ideal targets. And unfortunately, as a young girl, you already have low self-esteem 90% of the time. And then for somebody to prey on that, and then to feel like you don't have a voice, even if you want to speak up and say, hey, this is happening to me. Well, you're a girl. You were asking for it.
Right.
That's messed up. That's the worst excuse ever.
And I think the fact that
it's used a lot, and I mean a lot.
It's horrible.
Well,
we are a male-dominant society, and women are just now starting to really get their voices heard more so. I mean, I hate to hit that card, but think about it.
It's not hitting a card, though, but I feel like as a society, though, we shift. We have fundamental shifts. Like 400 years ago, women were in power in some places of the world.
Yeah.
If you think we had, if women were always held down, then why did we have temples built to women pharaohs in Egypt? Like why? No, at one point it was okay for women to be a woman. I think that just the ideal of that has changed and shifted, and society's adopted it. This is what we are okay with now. It'll change again.
Yeah.
It'll change
I mean,
again.
we can
Guaranteed.
only hope. I personally would like to see where people don't have gender roles per se.
That would be great.
That everyone is.
Well,
just,
we don't in our household.
Well, no.
I wash dishes. You barbecue because I can't barbecue.
This is true.
Right?
It's Asian.
Yeah.
It's bad.
But I think that, as I told you, if given the situation where you had to do it, you would do it. I mean, it's no different than our friend who he's a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
And it works great for them.
Right.
That's unfortunately where you have to. How were you raised? Was the dad the breadwinner? Did mom stay home? Or did you have working parents? Or in my situation, I was a single parent family. My mom was both roles. And where she slacked, my grandparents picked up. And I think that, you have all these different.
That's weird to me because my grandparents were always seen and not heard,
And I
they
think-
were there, but they never did anything. Like, really.
And, for us, that's kind of how our kids are being raised. That makes me sad because I was a huge grandparent advocate. I loved my grandparents. I got to do some of the coolest things with them, learn amazing things, and my kids don't have that same opportunity.
Our kids won't have that, no.
So, but I mean, shifting back to Epstein and the fact that his cohort, his right-hand woman, is a woman.
Ghislaine Maxwell?
Ghislaine.
It's French. Ghislaine.
Oh, fancy Maxwell.
No, but she was a pile of shit.
Well,
she is a pile of
She had
shit.
to have zero morals, or at least, think that she was above the people that she was hurting.
Well, and that's what we were saying earlier when we were talking off mic about how she was raised proper.
Right.
She was raised in a well family. Her dad was a publisher.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Andrea's
Yeah.
looked
Keep
into
going.
Yeah.
I mean, she was not raised in a starving family.
She was
if you will.
She was in a class. She was
in a
born
class.
into a certain class.
And that's kind of funny because we were talking about, well, maybe because she was raised to have such high standards that this was her like dirty little side that she could kind of rebel on.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder, Scott and I have an acquaintance back in Illinois, and she was raised, this young girl was friends of our niece, and she was raised in a very proper Christian household. And man, that girl went off the rails for the longest time.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember she was using uppers and downers and had a traveling pole.
Yeah, I
and
remember the
and
traveling stripper pole.
Now,
It's like, hey, did you guys go to that party the other night? Well, such and such showed up with the stripper pole and put on a show. Like, what?
She would just show up at a party.
Yeah,
and
she just like, there it is.
She was crazy.
And then put it all out on display, man.
The dancer of the party.
But
and this is in the country too,
Yeah.
so like
Yeah.
she could be at the same party in 5 different,
Oh my God.
5 different times.
And now she is a mom of 2. She's taken in her nephew, who's a teenager, and she has raised these boys on her own.
Yeah, done like a
Unfortunately,
complete 180,
yeah.
right?
Unfortunately, her faith is still intact. She's still great, but
Right.
unfortunately, her marriage just didn't. Her husband chose narcotics
That was his choice though, not hers.
over their family. But I think it just goes to show, you can be raised a certain way and still turn out a completely different way.
Right. Yeah. Well, absolutely.
I just understand, for me to get around this chick's mind and what made her think that it was okay to objectify a woman is beyond me.
But if she was getting paid, she was getting something out of this. She was either getting paid, maybe she was getting all of it. She was getting paid, she was getting what she wanted out of it, she was getting that feeling of superiority.
Going back to the social status, she was with like the elite people.
Yeah, man.
High society. Epstein was a billionaire. He has billionaire friends. They have their own private island. They got a house in Paris. They have like one of the most incredible townhouses in upper Manhattan, wherever the hell that place was.
Yeah, man. He had just the fact that he had his own private sex island. I mean, Jesus.
But when they raided his apartment, they found like all kinds of like naked pictures of all these girls just hanging all
On the
over
walls,
the place.
right.
Like not
he
even
had-
put away or.
The dude wasn't even trying.
It was all out there. He was so belligerent with it.
Well, wasn't it like an upper elite, like upper society joke that Jeffrey could pretty much get away with anything? Like,
yeah,
it
I think
became
it was,
a thing.
Yeah, it was like a
like, oh well, there he is walking by with some 12-year-old pair of 12-year-old girls that some sultan sent him for his birthday. Oh, it's just Jeffrey.
Rich elite assholes turned their cheek while like seeing this go on.
But
they're part of it.
But it's a different lifestyle when you're at that level. When you have no obstacles in your path and you can truly live your life how you want to live, and there's no one telling you what's right and what's wrong, and you're setting the standard, and all of a sudden all your other friends, your, air quotes friends, are living the exact same way. Well, what's wrong with me getting you a pair of 12-year-old boys for your birthday?
But you know what? Then you failed as a human being not to try to stop this.
But I'm just saying, when you set the standard, when no one is telling you no, and no one can because you have that much money. I mean, dude was basically a god.
Andrew, you watched the whole documentary, correct?
Yeah, I got through most of it.
Damn, you chugged
How
it without me.
How about when Prince Andrew interviewed with that reporter? He made himself look silly. It backfired on him.
That's bound to happen.
That guy, there's a picture of him and this young girl.
Yeah.
And they had a testimonial with that girl, actually. Well, she's a young woman now.
Right.
He basically was grinding up against her.
Yep, right there.
And the engineer guy saw him. He's like, yep. They gave him a picture and they're like, was this the man who was with the young girl? And he's like, that's him. And here is Prince Andrew from England, the Queen's nephew,
who probably has diplomatic immunity wherever he goes.
Which is hogwash.
They can't do anything to him.
But when did people become above everything and lose their humanity? That's the real question.
We've always been there. Deep down at our core, humans are horrible pieces of shit because it's in our destiny, I feel like, to destroy ourselves. Deep down at our core, we're flawed, and that's part of it. Just the fact that people don't... you guys are pre-programmed and you know what's right or wrong, and I have no illusions that either of you would deviate from that. But at Walmart today or tomorrow or at Walgreens or at Kroger's or Gerb's or downtown at the 4th of July celebration, I'm going to walk by somebody who's thinking about fucking my daughter.
A grown adult.
It's going to happen because I can't control what they're thinking. And I hate that I think that because, of course, I think that because I always go to the negative side and I try to avoid it. But there's somebody out there that's doing that.
For one, I can't think like that because then I
don't want to think like that, but I have to.
And I'll be overprotective.
Because I have a daughter. I feel like I have to think of every scenario to keep her safe.
Right.
Like I worry about getting her a Facebook page because right now she's got like a tablet. She's always snapping little selfies and taking little things. Well, she posts those online. I guarantee there's some dude in Malaysia jerking off to it.
Yeah.
Right?
I have no words. This is all making me nauseous.
It's going to happen because I don't have any trust in humanity.
Because,
like I said, you two, I know you. You're good. You're solid, good core people. Anyone else, though, I can't say the same for that.
Well, to deviate for just like a second, so we have our kind of beliefs about Santa. And Scott is very anti, I don't want to do the Santa because you're just giving them...
Well, you're really getting a lot of deep insight into us. Let's do this.
But no, there is one Santa that I will allow the kids to sit on because I don't get freaked out that the person portraying Santa is some child molester, pedophile that's getting off on my little girl sitting on their lap.
And that's my thing. That's my thing with Santa. But I don't like 11 months out of the year, I'm telling my kids stranger danger. And then 1 month out of the year, here's some dude that's probably got some chub under his Santa outfit that I'm sitting my kid on your lap. And he smells like booze, stale cigarettes, and regret.
Why does he have to be the Santa from Home Alone?
I don't know.
I mean,
but he is every time.
Well,
you have to take your kid to the same Santa every single holiday season.
We drive miles to take our
funny story.
Yeah.
Our good friend actually set us up. Literally, she was my best friend. She hung out with one of his best friends. Her dad now portrays Santa.
That's weird, I find. I'm sorry, Rick, but that's weird.
And
he's the dude that I was telling you we should censor our shows for.
Oh, yeah.
He's St. Richolas.
Yeah,
And
St. Richolas.
I will drive every time we go to Illinois around Christmas time, I will drive no matter where that man is at because A, it's St. Nicholas and I love to see him because he's just a genuine person.
Sure.
But 2, he looks like the real deal. I mean,
he has like
oh gosh,
like right
he
now,
rocks
he's full on
it 24/7. He like even goes to like
cool.
Santa things in the summer and has all these pictures of him with all these other Santas.
He did one here a while back. It was like Santa on a hot rod, and he was in like shorts with like Santa lederhosen.
That's awesome.
And here's the best part about Rick is that he's
a genuine dude.
He's
man.
a genuine guy. He has 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls, and they're just, you know, back in the day, he was a crazy guy. I've seen the pictures of him and his wife, and the fact that her hairdo was probably longer than her dress.
Yeah, and I tell you.
But yet he is still.
She needed 2 hairdos. In some
He
of them
is
dresses.
still a cool cat, even after all these years.
Yeah.
Like, he's big into cars, so he's kind of got that hot rod guy mentality. But yet he is the most down-to-earth person and has the best sense of humor ever.
Well, there's a reason I'll drive 400 miles to see St. Nicholas. Don't knock my water cup over, please. That was
trying not to. And why is that? Why is
he's good.
He's
you
a
know?
good person.
My wife likes him. My kids like him. I'm okay with it.
Yeah. And I think the whole creepy factor, like I've seen the pictures of your little girl on Santa, and I know that every year you're going to go to.
She's not impressed at all.
That will come with age.
She's not at all.
Do you see that scowl she has? She's just like,
who is this guy?
What the hell's going on here?
Why?
You know what? Good for her. She already knows.
Hey, man. She's a tough little.
This guy smells like regret.
She's a tough cookie.
Right? Good for her. She's already got that smart.
Yeah.
But I think that is you telling her as a dad, because you are, both of you guys, whether you realize that you are doing it or not, how you act and how you carry yourself with every situation with your little girls, you're telling them what's right and what's wrong and what's acceptable and what's not. So when they see you have a disagreement or they see you have fun, you don't even realize that you're teaching them every moment of every day. And so I heard you guys say earlier about parents and being physical. And unfortunately, I know Scott's situation, there was some times that he didn't get to see the best side of his parents. But because of that, he may raise his voice to me from time to time, but there's never a physical altercation. Yeah. There's only words. And, at least the words, they sting, but they don't leave a physical impact.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen my parents get into some heated arguments, growing up, and it was about all kinds of family stuff. But I never saw my dad raise his hand to my mom. So
I remember one time my mom and dad were arguing, and it was back in the old rotary phone days, right? And my dad was disabled; he couldn't walk the best, and so we had a rotary, desk style phone. Anyway, we had to run a cable like halfway across the house to get it in there. And they were arguing about something, and he had the handset. Like, you could hold the handset and the receiver together. And my mom said something, and he didn't like it, and he went to swing the whole thing at her. But just the handset, the receiver was in his hand, and he came right across her head.
Oh my God.
And he bashed her right, like a couple times, just bam, bam.
And
my mom like grabbed her head and stepped back, and she looked at him, and I remember the look she gave him, like, you son of a bitch.
Damn.
And she grabbed me, and we just went for a drive. And I remember begging my mom for a good hour to 2 hours. You have to leave them. We need to go. We need to leave. We need to go. We can go to your sisters. We can go here. We can go there. Oh. I had 2 older sisters at the time, and they were already out of the house. I was maybe 7, 8.
So you were our daughter's age.
I was our daughter's age, and I had enough to go, we need to go, and she never did. We went right back and acted like nothing ever happened. And for me, it had happened. So that relationship with my dad was immediately, it wasn't good to begin with, because when I was born, my father was going through his thing. Now as an adult, I see why we had problems, but going through it at the time, fuck you, what's your problem? I'm here. I didn't have that knowledge that I do now. Yeah. And I really wish that I could have that time back with my dad to where I could say, I'm sorry, because I pushed it a lot.
But whether or not, I got to know Papa Shango on a whole different level than what Scott ever got to know him at. And I love that man. He had this hard exterior, but deep down, he had a soft side to
Yeah, I
him.
don't get it, man. He melted for you.
And before he passed away, I could see that he was proud of Scott.
Yeah.
He was too proud to say it, but he was proud of him. And it was the crazy thing is so Scott and I just celebrated 13 years, which is crazy in itself. And at our wedding, none of us did this. Like it was complete coincidental. But at our wedding, there was an extra seat, like where his dad would have been. And it's crazy because Scott's like, did you do that? I was like, I didn't do that. And he goes, okay. And his mom goes, did you guys do that? And we're like, no, it was fluke. I mean, even though.
Or was it?
I don't think it was.
I mean, he was there. And I always had kind of joked because I always told Keith that I would scoot dance with him. He was in a scooter and he always drove around a little scooter. And I was like, I was really looking forward to like doing some scoot dancing with him. But, you know, in spirit, it
Shit,
happened.
I would have scoot danced with him.
No, you got to do Watching Scotty Grow. If you've never heard that song, look it up. It is a awful classic.
My mom was probably, pretty repressed the whole time with my dad. She loved him, I think, in the end, like legitimately. But when he passed and she finally kind of came to terms with it, we had a sexy granny phase, man.
Oh, yes.
Woo! She was wanting some tang, and she was out looking for it.
And
you go.
And at our wedding, she didn't have a slip on, and it was bad.
So envision
her bra was really her boobs were hanging out.
A 60-year-old woman in a spaghetti strap sundress with a cute little pixie cut and a cute little hair accessory.
I can imagine it.
And the best part about it is years later we were looking through pictures and God, I love Mama Joyce.
She looked so good.
She goes, man, that dress did nothing for me. And Scott and I just had that conversation we tried to tell you but whatever. You know, it was all good fun.
Sorry, we went from Epstein to us.
No, it's fine, dude.
It can always be edited out.
No. This is good content. I mean,
this is actually.
I'm glad there's no video. You had me straight balling there for a minute.
I looked over at Scott. I was like, I was going to give you a pound, but I was like, no, I gotta let this guy.
He's a softie. I know a lot of softie.
He's a big, fluffy, softy man.
He is.
I drank all my coffee, so
I'm sorry.
That's salty.
It's a sad moment.
See what happens when your first time on the podcast and you get Scott all.
I know.
All emotional. That's damn.
I'm sorry. Truly, I am.
So earlier she was like, I don't want to do this because I don't want to be Yoko. And I'm like, no, you're not changing things.
Yeah.
No. But
all we had to change was you're sitting in the driver's seat.
But I'm not really.
Because I can project into this mic a little bit better than you can.
Well, that's where my timidness comes through.
And that's why you're at that
this
mic.
Flashes me back to the times when I worked at a cell phone shop in Illinois.
This is good.
And so I would go out to the radio station that he worked at and we would we would record my ads and whatnot. And
I still have
gosh,
some of our old ads that we used to do.
I would spend
We were
probably
dating at the time.
20 minutes laughing, and then I would have him change all the levels because I personally feel like I sound 12. And so
I had to make a setting where I could slow it down to where she'd sound more manly.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the name of it, More Manly.
But when you're selling something, you don't want it to sound like it's coming from a 5-year-old.
Come to such and such home center here and get yourself a cell phone.
Try to remember what our address was.
I don't remember.
It was Main Street.
Yeah, in Hillsboro. And that's like a carpet store now.
Thompson's Home Center.
Yeah, and they're no longer around.
Nope.
But
Thompson's.
But Andrea Marie Photography is. Like us on Facebook.
It is. I actually have pictures this afternoon.
I was going to say you got pictures tonight. Yeah.
And I have pictures tomorrow.
That's right, baby. You go make that money.
All right.
Oh, yeah. So if you would like to call the old 77 listener line and call me an idiot, compliment Andrea, whatever. 573-246-0779.
Or you can reach out to us at the old 77 podcast at gmail.com.
We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Anchor, anywhere you get your podcasts. Also, if you like the show and you would like to become a sponsor, you can help ensure future episodes. Email us at the old 77 podcast @gmail.com. Guys got anything else? Any final thought?
So, going back to Epstein and the woman being
Giselle
reprimanded, taken into custody, however you want to say it. Has anybody else put together that it's been a year? It will be a year on Monday.
Right.
Yeah, I
that,
said that
he will be gone from suicide. Epstein didn't kill himself. But yet they found her
just living it up in the Hamptons, right?
And apprehended her at like 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay, I don't know about you guys. That is
She was just living her life like nothing happened.
oddly suspicious. But yet when you watch the documentary, she's still not able to be found. They still haven't been able to apprehend her. But yet she's in the Hamptons.
Right.
What?
I honestly thought because of the way the documentary like worded it that she was already dead. Like, ooh, they killed Epstein, so that this chick's gotta be dead too. Right. And apologies for using chick. Does chick bother you as a woman if I say this chick? Especially not towards her?
No.
Okay.
There's only a few crude words that bother me.
So
and
what's your trigger word?
Really?
Yeah.
You want me to say them? They're
Hells
not.
yes.
They're not nice.
Well, great. The not nicer, the better. I want to know from the female perspective, what triggers you?
Okay, so probably my biggest one is just being called a bitch. Like, you're such a bitch.
That's understandable.
But then you have other words like twat or twat waffle, which make me laugh because I read that in a book once and I thought that was hysterical.
Okay.
And then cunt. That's always another one.
Like used in a derogatory
You're
means?
such a cunt.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because I've heard you say that.
That's such a dirty word.
It is such a dirty word.
Before though.
But yet, it's not.
If you ever want to piss off a woman, just call her that.
Yeah, I just wondered.
I don't feel like
you're the first woman that we've ever had on the show, and I feel like now, like in this little cool down area that we're at, we have prime, like prime asking question times.
But I don't feel like I am your typical female.
Well, you are married to me.
That is true. That is true.
This
However,
is good.
but I think if we brought in your other half, like her words and what maybe really gets her honked off would be
triggered.
Totally different than me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, everyone has their own different.
Right.
Yeah. And like there's those girls that like they hear the word moist and it makes their stomach. I'm like, it's freaking moist.
This cake
what
is
the
moist.
Hell? I don't get it. I don't like it's just a word. What?
How's your burger? Oh, it's very moist.
Moist.
I
Very
think
good.
it would be juicy, not moist.
This is moist.
Moister than an oyster.
That lady on the YouTube channel. She says moist.
Right.
The way she says it in her teeth. And
Right.
mouth,
Well, that's
moist.
just it. She's got like,
like-
five different
It's so-
horses in her mouth.
It's so gross.
Moist.
It's so gross.
Yeah, but like I personally just derogatory for me is probably bitch.
Bitch.
Yeah. And I don't really think that I get, but for me, like being called fat, that's a trigger.
Well,
and
I
that's
get
just
that
more
one.
of an emotional thing
Yeah, I get
than
that.
it is like
That's-
derogatory.
That's just
But-
rude if you call someone fat. That's just not having any kinds of respect.
No, but when you grew up in the same time frame that we did,
Yeah.
if you were anywhere different, if you didn't fit the mold of being popular, sporty,
That
or
though,
rich,
That I don't.
Is that coming from a small town?
I
That is
honestly
coming
think
from a small
that's
town.
coming from where we came from, though. Not necessarily where Matt came from.
I think
Where
that
we came from, it was a little different because we were so small. If you didn't hang out in the cornfield on a Friday night, or if you didn't do
But that's-
this, or
I
if you didn't go to
mean-
the game, then you were fucking weird and fuck you. That's what it felt like.
you
it
and I
was.
though were on that spectrum. We were both fluffier kids.
Yeah, I
we
was a
both got
fatty.
tormented for that.
Yeah,
Neither one of us had the right last name.
yeah.
We were seen,
Well,
not heard.
I was from Fillmore, which was a smaller town, like 30 minutes away. So I had like an
But
hour-long
see,
bus ride
I
to get to school.
never thought people from Fillmore. I never thought of them in a derogatory light. Where like you have this kind of this chip. Well, I was from Fillmore. I wasn't good enough.
To be fair, that was learned behavior because that's what my family did.
But
that's what my sisters did.
My derogatory thing about Fillmore was you ride the Fillmore bus, you're going to be cussing like a fucking sailor by the time you're done. And you know who's going to be cussing? Some little 5-year-old kid saying, motherfucker.
Right? So this is actually funny. So a friend of mine, his mom and dad were very religious and they wouldn't let him cuss. So to hear him cuss for the first time on the bus, it was so sad. He'd like just grab words out of the air. He'd be like, you're being a bitch fuck. And you're like, what? He thought he was really insulting you, but he had no clue. So when my kids cuss and they use it right, I find that as a point of pride. But I also have to yell at them. It's like, damn it, don't do that. But you're using it right.
You know what Sloane's saying now?
Oh.
She's saying, oh shit.
That is the best.
Is it like, oh shit?
No, it's just, she go, oh shit. It's not like, you know what she's saying, but it's not the full pronunciation of shit.
You know what? Like, you're sitting on a gold mine, man, in just terms of content. So she's at an age where she's going to start talking, and you could just get her to say anything, and she won't even understand it. So she can cut so many promos coming up.
Oh, yeah. Don't tell my wife this. Oh, wait, she's listening.
She doesn't need to, it doesn't matter.
It's okay.
I've got
okay,
examples.
Wife.
I've got examples.
Yeah, there's ways for Scott. We had our nephew one time, and he had him say some words to where it would sound like he was cussing, but really he wasn't. He was just censoring it.
So we were using the F word, and instead of saying fuck, he was saying fun. And if you just
but still it has
out,
the
if
FU.
you beep out after the FU, if you still get that in, it sounds like the kid saying the F word. Because I remember I played it for his mom the first time, and she gave me this look like, what did you do?
It's not as bad as you think.
Hold on, here's the unedited version.
Yeah, but when you tell our niece, hey, by the way, we're going to do some play on words. He's not
like, okay.
really cussing.
Right.
Okay.
She was cool. She's cool. She's really cool.
If you are being trafficked or suspect that someone you know is being trafficked, contact the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-THE-LOST or cybertipline.org.
Call or text the Old 77 listener line at 573-246-0779. Help ensure future podcast by becoming a sponsor today. To find out how, email the Old 77 podcast at gmail.com. This was the Old 77. It's a safe place in an unsafe world.